Hey guys, Jonas bringing you some Diablo 4 news. So we got a couple things that came up the last couple days. First off, a video from the community team talking to the developers about things they want to change to make the game better. We also had some news yesterday about a new patch that's coming out for Diablo 4, which we'll talk about as well. I really wanted to play this video live with you guys so I can react to it live with y'all. And yeah, let's just go get right into it and watch the video. So here we go.
Team, we've been keeping a close eye on your feedback, questions, and everything surrounding the season and beyond. So today, instead of me just giving you the answers, we thought it'd be cool to just go out into the Blizzard halls and ask the developer these questions personally right at their desk. So let's go ahead and kick this off, shall we?
So if you've played endgame, D4 like we all have, you'll notice there's buffs everywhere that I can see. Is there any plan to maybe add a priority system or maybe only showcase buffs that are important to the player?
Yeah, the buff UI on the buff bar is definitely a pain point, I think, in our gameplay loop. On the class design side, when we're looking to make new effects that might have this kind of trigger, we will also look to add some kind of other visual element. I think Banishlord's Talisman.
That's really cool. I mean, I like that they're trying to make it so it's more visually easier to see what kind of buffs you have on you, because it's hard to tell sometimes when you have like 15 different things going on down on that buff bar. They've already done that with certain abilities, which just makes it a lot more easier to understand what's going on with your character. So adding more is always a great thing. So I like this idea a lot.
Is a unique item that's a pretty good example of that. Yep. It has this glow and sound effect on your character whenever it's triggered and it's ready to let you know that it's available. We're definitely going to be looking into doing more things like that, as well as updates to the buff bar, just to really make sure that you have all the information you need as a player.
So we had the armory come out. Everybody loves the armory.
Yeah.
But could we get everything to switch over, like transmogs, gems, things like that?
That's absolutely something we're looking at. The version of the armory that we released was definitely the first draft of that. And we absolutely wanted to add all of these features, but we really just wanted to make sure that we got that function out as soon as possible. And so over time, we're going to be adding in those abilities to save the gem slots and save the transmogs. That's absolutely something we're looking at making.
In towns like the Tree of Whispers, the mini-map, there's just so many icons.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to navigate sometimes.
Yeah, I've noticed that too, especially with the Tree of Whispers, like you said. We updated that in the season, added those new crafters and NPCs in there, and it's kind of cluttered.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what's going on by the Tree Whispers right now. That like anytime they can make any adjustments, they make it a little bit less cluttered and clean up would be a great thing. Obviously, I was able to get around okay and figure it out. But once again, going back to the visual cues, visual cues and stuff like that. I mean, anytime you can clean that up and make it better for the player, the easier it is to understand what's happening on the map. So, the map or your buff bar.
I totally agree, and that's something I can definitely talk with the UI and the UX team to find ways to improve that, because I agree it's definitely not ideal given the current state.
So some builds are great, some builds are not so great.
Class balance.
What's the deal? Yeah.
What's the deal, Charles?
Diablo 4 is a big game.
So I played sorry I keep pausing, but I just want to give my feedback and not interrupt them while they're talking. But yeah, I played the Necromancer, and I had a very, very good time with it this season. Got through the content pretty
there
fast.
There is so many things going.
I got through the content pretty fast. But Bloodwave was so much fun. Apparently there are some other classes that were left behind compared to like the Necromancer. I think the Barb was very, very powerful as well. So yeah, it's always a challenge. Class balance in any game is going to always be a challenge to make sure everybody, especially in an RPG game, where there's so many things going on, so many different abilities, attacks, and then you have new uniques you're introducing, things like that. It's always going to be a challenge. So other games do it a little bit better, like PoE 2, for example. Their class balance is a little bit better. Well, not PoE 2, but like PoE 1. Let's just say that for example. PoE 2, they got some work too ahead of them as well. But once again, any game, class balance is always going to be a challenge for sure.
Right? You got all kinds of legendaries, and you got skills, and you got classes, you got Paragon. There's just naturally going to be some outliers sometimes. Some things are going to be strong, some are going to be weak. We're working really hard to make sure that it's the best possible, but it's a hard job.
Yeah, sometimes you have like one random key passive that you're like, oh, that's a multiplier.
Yeah, and we want to add in brand new stuff every season that's flashy and exciting. And sometimes that misses the mark. Sometimes we're so excited about making this thing cool, we tune up the numbers just a little too high.
Class balance is always a hot topic for the community. Could you maybe shed any insight on what you're looking to do, what the team's looking to do to improve on that?
Definitely. Necromancer Bloodwave, incredibly fun to use,
So
very
much fun.
visual. It changes
Had a
up
great
the
time
way
with
the
it.
gameplay feels, it targets differently, it looks different. But I think one area that it kind of falls short is on the player journey side. You pick up those new unique pants, right?
Yeah.
And you are just destroying everything. It's just such like a massive amount of power all on one item.
Yeah.
So we want to focus more on each build feeling like there are multiple puzzle pieces you have to collect,
Good.
which is much more satisfying as you move into the late game.
You get more of a journey.
Yeah, and that's a big problem with Diablo right now, right? Like you pick up unfortunately, Ubers you can get pretty fast in the game, especially if you have friends that are playing with you too, right? You all can just go and run those Ubers over and over again because you're going to have tons of mats most likely, and once you get your Ubers, your journey's done, right? So having steps like that would be cool. I don't know how they're going to implement that. Maybe they take some lessons from PoE 1, PoE 2, Last Epoch, because they do have that journey compared to Diablo where you don't.
Or like,
Yeah.
I've done this, now I can accomplish this
Exactly.
thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
I have a little fun thing. Do you want to play a word association game?
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Barriers.
Barriers. What is it associated with? Anger, frustration. Game design is messy, and we are always experimenting with new things, and we put a lot of barrier in this season. Like, we love certain things about the barriers, but we're going to bring them back,
All
and
the
they're
new
going to be a
content
little
had
bit more
so
tuned,
stupid.
a little bit
Refined.
Yeah, a little more refined.
Yeah. All right, serious question. Okay. The Obel vendor. What the hell?
So we're constantly rebalancing, the economy and trying to make it as satisfying as possible. And I think we unfortunately way overshot the Opal vendor in Season 7. We want to make sure that the Opal vendor is something that feels really good to engage with. And we also want to make sure that whenever you do end up going...
Another problem with the game, like you can spin your obols and get Ubers or whatever you want to get. Like you get so many legendaries, and once again, you're min maxing so fast in Diablo 4, and basically before you know it, you're doing endgame and you're one shotting all the Uber bosses. You're one shotting the hardest greater rifts. Like it's a joke right now. I mean, honestly, like they need to balance a lot better, and they got to add more in game. I mean, they need to add more in game. But yeah, I mean, it was a little overtuned for sure, but it was fun.
going and dumping all of your obols into the gambler, that you walk away with, feeling satisfied. And we want to make sure that the gambler's coffers are overflowing with wondrous items once again.
Maybe we'll go into a little spicy question. How about a loot filter?
Yeah, so...
Oh my god, like why not get a loot filter? Like they talked about how they wanted to reduce the amount of loot on the ground. Like what, 3, 4, 5, 6 patches, like a long time ago, right? And they did, and they made it a little bit more cleaner to be able to grab loot on the ground, right? This patch, I mean, the loot was just falling on the ground, and then legendaries, when you don't have like at one point when they're not ancestral, at one point in the game they're useless, right? So you're getting all these freaking non-ancestral loot legendaries dropping on the ground, and it's just cluttering all the other items that you need, right? It was really bad. Like, yeah, love the loot explosions, but loot filters, man, you guys gotta get on board. Every other RPG has a freaking loot filter. Diablo 4, man, like what the hell? Get a loot filter.
Well, the way that we think about loot in Diablo 4 right now is that we want you to basically use like every part of the animal. And what I mean by that is when you find loot, when you find legendaries, even if you don't plan to use them, we want you to be able to salvage them and for that to flow into the economy of how you're interacting with systems and like the blacksmith and the enchanter and all the different crafters. And so we want those drops to be valuable to you regardless of their context.
Too
or
much
position.
stuff.
And we won't ever say never to a loot filter wholesale. And that's something that we want to hear people's feedback from the community on all the
Oh my god! Like we've told you so many times, you need a loot filter, man. Like look at your like watch a streamer, watch anybody play Diablo 4 right now, in game when you're doing any content, especially like hell tides or green tides or whatever you want to call them nowadays, the events, like it's horrible. There's so much crap on the ground, and you cannot pick up what you want because you have all this unnecessary, like I said, legend. Like all you want at that type, I'm so angry about this. Sorry, but like all you want is the ancestral stuff. You have all this crap legendaries that you don't need, that you don't want to pick up. You've already got all your you got all the material you need at that point of the game, right? Like it's so necessary. Why they don't understand why you need a loot filter is so mind-boggling, and they just don't understand their player base. Like they're shooting for always for the casuals is what they're always shooting for, which I get it. Diablo 4 is a casual game, but you do have players that want to invest a little bit more time in your game. You have streamers that want to spend a lot of time in your game that we can't because it's over in a week. Like you guys are losing so much player base because you're not fitting the need for in-game and loot filters and things that other RPGs do so well. Like you're missing so much player base because of it. Like I don't understand. Anyways, enough. All the player like this is just I'm mumbling. I'm frustrated. They don't want to do loot filters. It makes no sense to me. Like why not? Like why? If you don't want a loot filter, at least have the option. People don't have to use it. Like the casuals don't have. I'm sorry. I'll keep going.
Time, and I think
So
that's
dumb.
really important. But right now, that's kind of how we're thinking about it.
So another thing players have asked
No
is
sense.
more ways to control their gameplay. Profane mind cages are really popular, and players are wondering if there's a way that they can incorporate that in these activities.
Yeah, so part of Progression 2.0 was to kind of incorporate that into the core gameplay experience where like you could pick a higher tournament difficulty, which made everything harder, but you got better rewards for that. But we totally acknowledge that like the directness of the Profane Mind Cage was really cool. The way that you could just very intentionally
cool.
be like,
I miss it.
actually, I want this activity to be way harder, and I'm going to very intentionally like use this consumable item I got to make that happen. And so it's something we're going to be keeping in mind for the future on like how can we incorporate that into different activities to potentially bring something like that back in the future.
It seems like people don't want the seasonal mechanics to disappear. They'd like to keep them incorporated in different ways. Like one suggestion I saw was in Nightmare Dungeons. Like maybe you can have like a rare chance for a root hold to spawn
Yeah.
or something like that. So that'd be cool.
That would be
Yeah, season mechanic was actually pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good system. Um, pretty similar to some other systems in season journeys in the past. But either way, it was a good season. Like didn't last long, but still fun. Trying to be nice.
really cool. I love that idea for one. But that's one of my favorite things about seasonal development. We do get that kind of feedback where it's like, oh, root holds are awesome, and I do want them to stick around. We're going to continuously be developing seasons with bringing back content in mind, and that kind of applies across the whole game. Like when an activity lands and people are like, "This is sick." We don't want to limit ourselves from like ever seeing that again. So yeah, it's not impossible the root holds could come back. It's not impossible that any future seasonal activities come back either.
That's all for today. If you're craving more Diablo news, you won't have to wait too long since our upcoming live stream is just around the corner where we'll be showcasing what to expect on the PTR. Shout out to the community for asking these questions, and big shout out to the developers for letting me crash their space a bit. But that's all for today. We'll see you in Sanctuary.
All right, so kind of going back to that video, I'm pretty disappointed. Really, all about the loot filter. Like, I just don't get their mindset behind not introducing one. Like, I get it; they want us to utilize all the stuff that's falling on the ground, but at a certain point, like a loot filter's for min maxing the end game. That's what a loot filter's there for, right? Like, eventually, at end game, you have all your recipes, your crafting material. You have such build up on it that you want to minimize some of that stuff. Like I just don't understand their acknowledgement behind not wanting it. Like yeah, it's great that we see all this stuff that falls early game, right? But once again, Diablo 4 has a lot of casual players. I understand that, and they're not going to want to min max down the road, right? Like I would want to. But man, like, and they didn't really mention anything about endgame. Like, all like, why don't you talk about endgame at all? Like, just I love Diablo 4. I have a lot of passion for Blizzard. I have a lot of passion between for Diablo games. So that's why it angers me when I don't hear certain things that the game needs desperately, um, and they try to make an excuse for it. Um, so yeah, I mean, cool. That was a cool video. Didn't really learn much about anything really that's I want to know about. um, but I'm glad at least they're bringing these videos out, right? At least they're bringing them to the audience and letting us hear what they're working on. I really want that roadmap. I really want that roadmap ASAP for this year to see what their plans are for the rest of the year. I really hope Endgame is on that roadmap. But that's something they promised us for this whole year, so it has to be coming sometime soon. Once I hear about the roadmap, I'll let you guys know as well. Um, there's a patch, so I haven't looked at these notes really yet. We can go through them really quick while I have them up. So it looks like they are making some adjustments to the Spiritborn. Um, so yeah, they're definitely giving them some more damage. It looks like some damage they put because Spiritborn is not in a good spot at right now with this new patch. A lot of people aren't even playing it anymore. It's just they're really weak. So a couple changes to Spareborn, which is good to see that they're helping them. It comes damage, bug fixes, um, base game. Yeah, just some changes to the season of looks like just um, the seasonal stuff. Some class changes. I'm not really gonna go over these on stream. You guys, I'll put them in the chat, just because I'm not really playing the game right now anyway. So some adjustments to unique items. It looks like that's it. I mean, nothing major, and this is normal, right? This is just a like mid-season update. Their mid-season updates are usually just adjustments to the classes, bug fixes, crashes, things like that. So they're not going to have anything like game changing in these updates, which is very normal for Diablo. So yeah, it's once again they usually do these, and it's like I said, very minor. But other than that, that's all I have for you guys today. I really just wanted to share that video and tell you that there's a patch coming out for those who are playing Diablo 4 still. You'll be March 3rd. You'll be getting a patch update that'll fix some things with Spiritborn and some adjustments to classes and stuff like that. Definitely check it out. I'll have it in my link down below, and I'll have a link for that video as well. So if you want to watch it yourself, you'll be able to do that as well. I'll be streaming later today around 5 o'clock. 5 to 10. I know I've been cutting them off a little short lately, like around 9:30, 9:25. I do have my kids this week too, so obviously I want to spend time with them as well. And then on the weekends, especially like Saturday and Sunday, are my big days for my job. I'll have a team I have to manage, so um, I'll try to get on at 5 and stream till 10. But once again, I'll probably be interrupted for the first couple hours with questions from my team, so just be aware of that. But thanks for watching my videos, guys. Definitely tune into my stream today. And then, like I said, I'm streaming every day. That's the goal, right? And I'll try to get more of a set schedule if I can for you guys. But yeah, definitely follow me on Twitch. That way you get that notification when I do go live, because I might have an unexpected early stream. You never know as well. But that's all I have. Like I said, like 5 times already today on this video. Appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And yeah, I'll try to put some sort of video up every day if I see anything new when it comes to Diablo 4, Last Epoch, Path of Exile 2. Those are the three main titles. PoE 1, I guess I can post some things on there if I do see something that comes out, but that's not one of my main games. I'm not really playing that a lot. My three games I play a lot is obviously those three I just mentioned. I'm thinking about doing some new games down the road as well. Maybe some new content that comes out, some new games. There's a new title that is coming out sometime this, I think, fourth quarter. I might try out. It's an RPG type game, so I might throw those up on the stream a little bit every once in a while. Maybe post some information here. This is going to be an all-around channel. It's not specifically for one game. So just keep that in mind. It's about anything new in the RPG world. Maybe I'll even try MMO down the road. Who knows? I'm not for sure. We'll see what type of time I have. I do have a little bit time lapse with my job right now. My current job is ending. I'm looking for some other stuff, so I might have some little bit of time in between to do a lot of investment in gaming. So we'll see what happens, right? Or maybe this will, go crazy, and I'll be able to do this as my full time commitment. Never know, I guess. It's a long shot, but either way, I just enjoy doing this, right? Whatever it comes from, whatever it comes out of it is great. But once again, I just enjoy them. So this is fun. I love making content. I love streaming the games. So it's my passion. So it's my hobby. Anyways, I'll stop rambling on and end this video here. Once again, like I said earlier, have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys hopefully tomorrow. Take care, or maybe even my live stream tonight. So, anyways, see y'all later. Take care.